Dear students, today we will be continuing with the 10th chapter, that is India after Independence. In the previous episode, we learnt about the post-independence scenario of India, appreciated the efforts of the Constituent Assembly in framing of the Constitution. In today's session, we will be discussing about how the Indian states were formed. The major objectives of today's lesson are integration of the princely states, history of how the states were formed in India, reorganization of states in India, linguistic reorganization of states in India. In this lesson, you will be able to understand the history behind the formation of states in India, appreciate the efforts of Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel in integration of princely states with India, understand the reasons behind the states reorganization and their division. Now let's start with today's topic, how the Indian states were formed. We know that there were different provinces like Bengal and Madras, to name a few, during the British rule in India. Later, after the independence of India, these provinces came to be known as states and union territories. But around 500 princely states which were ruled by the Maharaja or Nawab were to be brought under the new nation before the independence. And this was not an easy task. Do you know who successfully completed the task of unification? Yes, you are right. It was Vallabhbhai Patel who did it successfully. What is he popularly known as? Excellent! Vallabhbhai Patel is known as the Iron Man of India. Now let's see how the task of unification was completed. Sardar Patel handled effectively the integration of princely states with his diplomatic skills and foresightedness. The problem of amalgamating 562 independent states with the democratic self-governing India was difficult and delicate. But it was essential to save India from further fragmentation. Sardar Patel took charge of States Department in July 1947. He sensed the urgent and imperative need of integration of princely states. He followed an iron-handed policy. This is why he is known as the Iron Man of India. He made it clear that none of the states remained independent and isolated within India. Patel appealed to the patriotic and national sentiments of the princes and invited them to join the forming of the democratic constitution in the national interest. He convinced them to surrender their defence, foreign affairs and communication to the government of India. By this tactics, Patel broke the union of separatist princes. By August 15, 1947, all except Hyderabad, Junagadh and Kashmir all ascended to India. The princely states were amalgamated and merged with the Union of India. What was the next task before India after amalgamation of princely states? Yes, India had to take up the formation of states. First, let us look into the brief history of how states were formed in India. The formation of states takes us back to 1920s, when the Indian National Congress promised that after independence, each majority linguistic group would have its own province. After independence, the Congress did not take any steps to honor this promise, as India had been divided on the basis of religion. As a result of partition of India, more than 1 million people of India were killed in riots that took place between Hindus and Muslims. Could the country afford further divisions on the basis of language and give way to the further division of India? Both Prime Minister Jawaharlal Nehru and Deputy Prime Minister Vallabhbhai Patel were against the creation of linguistic states. It was because they feared about the further fragmentation of India if they chose to have linguistic states in India. Nehru said, disruptionist tendencies had come to the fore. To check them, the nation had to be strong and united. As Patel put it, the first and last need of India at the present moment is that it should be made a nation. Everything which helps the growth of nationalism has to go forward, and everything which throws obstacles in its way has to be rejected. We have applied this test to linguistic provinces also, but by this test, in our opinion, they cannot be supported. Until 1956, states in India had largely retained the political boundaries left by the British, but the demand for the linguistic provinces did not ease. The Kannada speakers, Telugu speakers, Malayalam speakers and the Marathi speakers had all looked forward to have their own state. Do you know from where the strongest protest for linguistic state came from? Yes, the strongest protests for the linguistic states came from the Telugu speaking districts. When Nehru went to campaign there during the general elections of 1952, he was met with black flag and slogans demanding, "We want Andhra." In an effort to protect the interests of Telugu speaking people of Madras state, Potti Sriramalu attempted to force the Madras state government to listen to the public demand for separation of Telugu speaking districts of Rayalaseema and coastal Andhra from Madras state to form Andhra state. In October of that year, Potti Sriramalu went on a hunger strike. As the fast went on, it attracted much support. Hartals and bands were observed in many towns. A hartal is a mass protest often involving a total shutdown of workplaces, offices, shops and courts of law, a form of civil disobedience similar to a labour strike. On 15 December 1952, 58 days into his fast, Potti Sriramalu died. As newspaper put it, the news of the passing away of Sriramalu engulfed entire Andhra in shows. What was the result of Sriramalu's death? Did the demand for linguistic state came to an end? Let's see. The protests were so widespread and intense that the central government was forced to give to the demand. Subsequently, Andhra Pradesh was formed. On 19th December 1952, the Prime Minister of the country, Jawaharlal Nehru, made an announcement about formation of separate state for Telugu speaking people of Madras. The central government appointed K. N. Vancho, the Chief Justice of the Rajasthan High Court, to look into the issues related to the formation of Andhra state. Parliament passed the Andhra State Act on September 1953. On 1st October 1953, 11 districts in Telugu speaking portion of Madras state became the new Andhra state with Kurnool as the capital. Formation of this first linguistic state paved the way to creation of more and provided an opportunity for these states to develop independently, linguistically and economically, each of them having a state to support. How do you think the centre managed to handle this situation? After the creation of Andhra, other linguistic communities also demanded their own separate states. A States Reorganization Commission was set up to recommend and redraw the district and provincial boundaries to form a compact provinces. The States Reorganization Commission SRC, constituted by the central government of India on 22nd December 1953 to recommend the reorganization of state boundaries. In 1953, after nearly 2 years of study, the Commission recommended that India's state boundaries should be reorganized to form 14 states and 6 union territories. States Reorganization Commission consisted of Fazil Ali, K.M. Panikkar and H.N. Kunzru. Some of its recommendations were implemented in States Reorganization Act of 1956. Tell me students, presently what's the number of states and union territories in India? Yes, we have 28 states, that is almost the double the number what we had in 1956, and 8 union territories presently. So, let's see how these states and union territories were carved from the existing states. Bombay state was split into the linguistic states of Gujarat and Maharashtra on 1st May 1960 by the Bombay Reorganization Act. Former Union Territory of Nagaland achieved statehood on 1st December 1963. The Punjab Reorganization Act 1966 resulted in the creation of Haryana on 1st November and the transfer of the northern districts of Punjab to Himachal Pradesh. The Act also designated Chandigarh as a union territory and shared capital of Punjab and Haryana. Madras state was renamed Tamil Nadu in 1969. Northeastern states of Manipur, Meghalaya and Tripura were formed on 21st January 1972. Mysore state was renamed as Karnataka on November 1st, 1973. On 16th May 1975, Sikkim became the 22nd state of the Indian Union and the state's monarch was abolished. In 1987, Arunachal Pradesh and Mizoram became states on 20th February followed by Goa on 30th May, while union territories of Goa, Daman and Diyu's northern exclaves Damoh and Diyu became separate union territories as Daman and Diyu. In November 2000, 3 new states were created, namely Chhattisgarh from eastern Madhya Pradesh, Arunachal from northwestern Uttar Pradesh, renamed Uttarakhand in 2007, and Jharkhand from southern districts of Bihar with the enforcement of Madhya Pradesh Reorganization Act 2000, Uttar Pradesh Reorganization Act 2000 and Bihar Reorganization Act 2000 respectively. Pondicherry was renamed as Puducherry in 2007 and Orissa was renamed as Odisha in 2011. Telangana was created on 2nd June 2014 as 10 former districts of northwestern Andhra Pradesh. In August 2019, the Parliament of India passed the Jammu and Kashmir Reorganization Act 2019, which contains provisions to reorganize the state of Jammu Kashmir into 2 union territories, Jammu Kashmir and Ladakh, effectively from 31st October 2019. In November 2019, the Government of India introduced legislation to merge the union territories of Daman and Diu and Dara and Nagar Haveli into a single union territory to be known as Dara and Nagar Haveli and Daman and Diu, effectively from 26 January 2020. This ends today's topic. Now, let's recap what we have learned till now. Dear students, after the partition, it was a need for India to be strong and united. Vallabhbhai Patel played the major role in unification of princely states with India. Demand for linguistic states were high and the strongest demand came from the Telugu-speaking people. After the death of Potti Sri Ramalu, protests were so widespread and intense that the central government was forced to give in to the demand being, which subsequently became Andhra Pradesh. On the recommendations of States Reorganization Commission, State Reorganization Act of 1956 was implemented. Dear students, here are some activities related to this topic which should be done and submitted to your teacher. 1. Draw sketch figures of Vallabhbhai Patel and Potti Sri Ramalu and discuss about their contribution in your class. Using a current outline map of India, shade the present states that were once part of a single state. 3. Make a table about the timeline on division of states after States Reorganization Act of 1956. In the next class, we will be discussing about planning for development, 5-year plans, the nation 70 years on, recent developmental steps taken by India. Students, I hope you have enjoyed learning. Thank you.